Offshore, on the Uganda side with the Democratic Republic of Congo, biodiversity is rich but in great danger. The area is a natural paradise for animals, birds, fish and plants of all types. One major lake, supplied by a network of rivers, adds beauty to the diversity of this surging landscape. The Lake Albert. It is here that the region earns its name, the Albertine Rift. Amidst this natural splendor, there is a quiet clash over sustainable use of natural resources, forests in particular. And in a region where almost 70% of all the natural forests exist on private land, the situation can only get worse. A region holds much of the country's population densities. It is also an economic pump that keeps the region running. Almost 3/4 of the food that feeds the region is grown here. Leave alone the timber that comes from these forests. Yet a region plagued by poverty. In recent years, there have been significant reforms in most rural areas and hugely improved social, health and other services. The question then remains, what is happening to biodiversity conservation services? Chimpanzee Sanctuary and Wildlife Conservation Trust is a Ugandan-based organization that has hugely contributed to biodiversity conservation in the Albertine Rift, with particular focus on chimpanzee populations without forgetting the livelihood needs of the surrounding communities.
Why this is so important is because to be able to have a sustainable system in place, the people themselves have to be involved and be part of the approach a long way in managing biodiversity conservation in the landscape.
In fact, villages located near forest habitats face unique challenges. These communities are often remote, with limited access to government services and lack knowledge of conservation. At least, government services reaching these communities are mainly primary schools.
Let us enjoy and celebrate.
Most other services are those provided by the people themselves, like savings and credit associations, farmers advising other farmers, etc. In this challenging scenario, a new hero is emerging. Not someone with supernatural powers, but just someone with genuine concern for the welfare of others. This person is the Community Habitat Monitor, often known as the ambassador of change in the local context. But who is a Community Habitat Monitor? A Community Habitat Monitor is defined as someone who is a member of the community, not an outsider, selected from the community he or she lives in, and trained to do certain tasks, supported and supervised by a facilitating agent. It can either be by government or non-government organization, and he or she is in some way accountable to that agent or the community he or she serves. This video proves that community habitat monitoring approach is a useful tool in extension services. Not only does it ensure ecological integrity of the forest resources, it empowers local communities to deliver services themselves, added on to their usual work. This example focuses on Hoima and Kibale districts in western Uganda. Here, survival of wildlife and its habitats is threatened by human activities. One of the drivers to forest destruction is crop cultivation. Not only does this reduce primate numbers and their food supply, it also increases human-wildlife clashes due to crop raiding.
Orahinga hikanki kumashanga zone. Rero sebo yo kugambira kuri twine kizibu
Chimpanzees are most threatened. Roughly 5,000 apes live in Uganda's Albertine forests. Of these, 300 apes live at the mercy of private forest owners, hanging between life and death. If there is any cruel sentence these animals have not served here, they will not serve it anywhere. So far, Chimpanzee Sanctuary Wildlife Conservation Trust has secured commitment with private forest owners to address the standoff between people and animals so that they can coexist. To achieve this, most individual private forest owners were integrated into the mainstream system to monitor activities taking place on their own land. One of the products of this system is Dennis. His day starts with visiting farmers from their homes or gardens, wherever he finds them. Like other community habitat monitors, Dennis tries to find out what picture farmers want to see if their forests are going to survive. On certain days, he goes out for mammal counting to find out the numbers of primates that are in private forests. Using a geographical positioning system handset, he records the actual spot where cases of crop raiding occur.
Geographically, it's important to know what is happening where and by what circumstances is it happening. So the GPS or the global positioning system helps us, especially when the monitors go out there and collect the information. And so that has helped us plan as an organization and know how many people are we working with, how much forest are we trying to save, how much forest are we bringing back through reforestation programs. And this all is done by the community monitors, making them a very key component of the conservation work in the Albertine Rift landscape.
To facilitate his movements, the project gave Dennis a bicycle. Dennis's work doesn't stop here. While interacting with the community, he also identifies other needs. Of course, farmers' needs are many, and he cannot be expected to meet them all. He then reports to CSWCT field office in Hoima.
Then too, I learned that it is very applicable.
We are working on private lands. We are working on communally owned lands. So someone has a right to own his land. But then here we get these 25 individuals in the 8 sub-counties who are working directly with the farmers, one-on-one, discussing with them and teaching them how best to maintain their forests, which is quite different with the protected areas where we have government intervention.
In the long term, what CSWCT has achieved is a sustainable, locally built capacity to not only sustain the welfare of these chimpanzees, but also tap into the potential of economic benefit that can potentially come from ecotourism. The Chamarela Wildlife Education Center is now being managed in the interim by a community monitor.
In many ways, community habitat monitors are the communication link between their communities and external public. Not only do they inform development partners about the needs of the people, they also convey vital information back to the people, especially when we talk of their role in guiding private forest owners to implement specific activities. In fact, one of them is the payment for ecosystem services schemes.
Abo tukoraga nabo kurungi obuhabaye ebintu ebizire ebyaka bagende batugambira nko twabaye tukorenda gano bakajja batwegesa twazikora nabo.
CSWCT established the community monitoring approach as a test to start with. And we are at the point that we have seen that it's working, and we look forward to seeing that this system is adopted.
Through existing partnerships with Worldwide Fund for Nature, we see a bright future, not only in the services provided by the community habitat monitors, but in ecosystem viability as well.
Having to synchronize work plans at the onset. You come together as partners, plan together such that when it comes to delivery, you will not be able to have those kinds of delays.
We're looking for additional support to come in to build upon, expand this program, which is providing useful information that should feed into not just national level conservation, but also into district environmental action. So these monitors in the long term should actually become a part of the local government environmental monitoring system.
Any exercise that can help to preserve the forests is welcome. The district is prepared to work with anybody.
Truly, community habitat monitoring system has the potential of saving biodiversity mostly outside protected areas where service delivery is insufficient. It was conceived out of genuine concern that the majority of services that reach most rural communities are those delivered by people themselves, and therefore, government and other service providers can best support the rural poor to deliver the services themselves. It is an experience that needs to be encouraged, developed, and streamlined because it is truly a rural solution to rural problems.